They let her get gangrene, they cut it off. They made her worse.
We have to have a child welfare system that is actually invested in protecting children.
Okay, that's an empty shell. Do me a favor? Yep. Take a deep breath. Yep.
Hey, can you breathe for me?
He needs Narcan. It's fentanyl.
Hello, and welcome to the King 5 Investigators Spotlight. I'm Chris Ingalls. At King 5, our investigative team exposes corruption, mismanagement, mistreatment, and wrongdoing in the Pacific Northwest. We're delivering these reports in a monthly roundup with investigations that make a real difference. First up, the King 5 investigators reveal that federal investigators have handed out violations to Washington state nursing facilities in the past year at a rate twice the national average. As Kristen Goodwillie reports, one King County family says they're paying the price. Their loved one's life is forever changed after a stay in a nursing home in Federal Way.
A year and a half ago, Annie Jenkins had mild dementia, but she could walk, take the bus independently, and remember her family. Today, she can't get out of bed without someone's help. Even when Annie has a minor medical issue, her family has to call professionals. Last month, we pulled up to her house to work on this story right as an ambulance arrived to transport her to the hospital.
Her whole 70-something years of life, she's been able to get around on her own and be dependent on herself to now completely dependent on someone else.
In late 2023, Annie tripped and fell at home. Her sister and niece put her in Hallmark Manor in Federal Way to heal from the ankle surgery.
24-hour medical facility that specialized in physical therapy, wound care therapy, dementia.
Still at Hallmark Manor in the spring of last year, legal documents say Annie's ankle bandages were discolored and giving off a putrid smell. When Gloria, her sister, asked a nurse to change Annie's bandage, what she saw horrified her. Here are the pictures. We blurred them because of their graphic nature.
And when they took that bandage off, I just probably went into shock myself.
Legal documents say despite offering a prompt examination of Annie's leg wound, she wasn't sent to the hospital until the next day. Only after Gloria says she threatened to call 911. In an email, Hallmark Manor said it does not comment on current litigation, and residents are their #1 priority.
What ended up happening to her ankle?
Well, it healed, and then they let her get gangrene, they cut it off. They made her worse. They just destroyed her life, the rest of her life that she had left.
The state agrees that Hallmark Manor failed Annie. It investigated Gloria's neglect complaint and found the facility failed to provide necessary treatment, that this injury was avoidable. It wasn't an isolated incident. Federal Medicare data reveals in the last year or so, Hallmark Manor racked up 23 citations, 2.5 times the national average. Violations include failing to provide dementia patients with appropriate treatment and services and failing to provide care with dignity.
This is not a problem or occurrence that is unique to this one care facility at this one point in time.
Hallmark Manor's issues reflect a statewide problem. Washington nursing homes receive nearly twice as many health and safety violations compared to facilities nationwide. In the last 3 years, 94% of the citations handed out in the state were for what they call low-level violations.
They didn't do the right thing.
Toby Edelman with the nonprofit The Center for Medicare Advocacy in Washington, D.C. says that's a problem, that more important than the quantity of citations is the severity of them.
I would say that many of those deficiencies should be cited at considerably higher levels than they are, that they are much more serious problems than this no harm level would suggest. We need to have some consequence for not complying with the law.
The state says it doesn't have an answer as to why more deficiencies are found in Washington nursing homes or why the deficiencies that are handed out are mostly for low-level violations. Here's Miriam Mina with DSHS.
We may have higher citations than other states, but we're really just focused on the work that we do here.
Where are you guys going, to St. Francis?
After all that happened to Annie and her family, the state handed out what the family says was inadequate. Hallmark Manor received a citation saying they have to submit a plan of correction and pay a fine, $1,000.
Because they're a company or a business, it just seems like, okay, we'll give you a slap on the wrist and a pass. How many passes have they gotten? Because obviously this isn't the first one.
Would you say that nursing homes in Washington are being held accountable?
I would say yes. Part of our role is to ensure that they are in compliance with following federal and state regulations.
What's terrifying for the community should be all of the individuals that are in these types of facilities that don't have advocates or voices. That's terrifying, and it should be.
Attorney Nick Andrews represents Annie and her family in a lawsuit filed late last year against Hallmark Manor.
Hopefully with this lawsuit, we can effectuate some change so there is accountability, because it's not coming from the state at this point that we can see.
He says what happened to Annie was criminal, and there needs to be more accountability.
You want some more water? And I think they should all go to jail, to be honest. Someone needs to answer for this. Someone needs to be prosecuted for this.
Hallmark Manor sent me a statement that also said, "We take great pride in the services we provide our community, and our commitment to the safety of our residents and their families has never been higher." I checked in with Annie's family today, and they tell me she is doing much better, all things considered, now that she's back home with them.
The King 5 investigators expose a 200% increase in the number of children dying or nearly dying under the care of Child Protective Services. We've extensively reported on the rise of babies and toddlers dying after exposure to opioids in our series, Fentanyl's Youngest Victims. Here again is Kristen Goodwillie.
Keeping kids safe starts right here.
After months of protesting the number of children dying from fentanyl,
But we can make sure that that next kid does not die, right?
pleading with the state to act,
Why didn't you do something? Why?
and frustration with a law they say didn't keep kids safe.
You don't deserve to have that child.
Now DCYF, the department that oversees Child Protective Services, is responding after the number of children dying and nearly dying this year skyrocketed.
We are looking at some big number increases.
In a Zoom meeting, DCYF Secretary Tana Sen revealed children dying or nearly dying tripled in the first quarter of 2025 compared to the same time frame in 2024. There were 9 reports last year and 27 this year. The data reveals most of the incidents involving babies and toddlers also involved fentanyl. 5-year-old Brentley was one of those kids. His aunt, Kelsey Osborne, shared these videos and says he was always laughing and smiling. He died in Puyallup 2 months ago from fentanyl poisoning.
We've been desperately trying to help his parents, and then he ended up paying the ultimate cost. And that is horrible because they had a choice. Brentley didn't have a choice.
A child that was known for putting things in her mouth.
King 5 has spent months covering case after case where babies put foil or straws used to smoke fentanyl in their mouths. Toddlers mistake pills for candy.
Hey, can you breathe for me? Hey, can you breathe for me?
This child survived, but it was a close call. We've just obtained the City of Tacoma body cam footage from 2022. It shows what happened when a 2-year-old accidentally ate a fentanyl pill.
He needs Narcan. It's fentanyl.
First responders saved him with Narcan.
It's absolutely crazy. I'm shattered. I'm heartbroken over it. We have to fix it.
Washington State Representative Travis Couture introduced a bill last session that would make it easier for children to be removed from homes where active fentanyl abuse is happening. It was shot down. He says it would help save these children. That bill will automatically be introduced in the next legislative session.
We have to have a child welfare system that is actually invested in protecting children. And yes, we can do that and still protect parents' rights at the same time.
DCYF says opioids, parental stress, malnutrition, and medically complex children account for the increase in critical incidents. The department is adding more child consultations when opioid use is present and targeting geographical hotspots.
Unless you're directly impacted by a child stuck in a home with drug abuse, you're almost ignorant to what's going on behind the scenes.
Brentley's aunt says DCYF can only do so much. She says our legislators need to step up.
I don't know what the answer is going to be other than this state caring about the lives of children. It seems like that is not a priority to the state.
Kelsey held a candlelight vigil for Brentley tonight at 8 p.m. at the Olympia State Capitol.
And a follow-up to that story, a groundbreaking nursery that helps babies withdraw from opioids has discharged its last patient after CPS canceled its contract. Kristen Goodwillie reports the closure comes days after the state revealed numbers that show a greater need than ever for this kind of care.
This is a terrible day. This is a horrible day for us, a very, very sad day.
Leaders at the Pediatric Interim Care Center, or PIC, shared this picture of their last baby before being discharged. The infant was born withdrawing from drugs.
And we're devastated.
At the beginning of June, PIC received this letter from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. It mandates the center stop all work under their contract and terminate all subcontracts. In other words, DCYF isn't going to send babies to PIC anymore, and the governor cut all of their state funding.
And without having the babies placed here, we have no legal structure to have them here or to care for them. I don't know how else you would shut us down if they take away the babies.
Just days ago, DCYF reported child fatalities and near fatalities tripled in the first quarter of 2025, with nearly all incidents involving children 3 and younger linked to fentanyl. In March, King 5 exposed Washington has nearly doubled the number of babies born withdrawing from drugs compared to the national average.
The real issue is that we have state policies that are leaving these little ones in unsafe situations where they aren't getting the care that they need.
On Friday, Republican legislators tried a last-ditch effort at saving the nursery. They sent a letter to DCYF and Governor Ferguson urging the renewal of PIC's contract.
And we're just throwing that legacy away and then harming children at the same time who we could be helping.
DCYF said with the state's $16 billion shortfall, the current $100,000 funding going to PIC was not cost-effective. They also said DCYF is not shutting down PIC, that it can still accept referrals from hospitals. PIC says it doesn't have the legal authority to do that.
And they're throwing away a facility that the community built. It's a wonderful resource, and they should not throw it away.
DCYF will officially stop referring babies here on July 1st. And PIC tells me they are working around the clock trying to figure out any way to continue operating in the future.
King 5 News has learned Oregon is following Washington's lead, barring police recruits from using a popular type of handgun. In a letter this month, Director Phil Castle of the Oregon Department of Public Safety Standards and Training told Oregon's 180 police agencies, quote, there is enough documented concern to ban the P320 handgun out of an abundance of caution. King 5 broke the story in February about Washington's training academy banning the P320 over growing concerns about the gun firing without the trigger being pulled. Several videos nationwide appear to show that exact thing happening. The company that makes the gun, Sig Sauer, has issued numerous statements saying its gun cannot fire on its own. But in that letter to Oregon agencies we mentioned, Director Castle wrote, I've had several conversations with firearm experts who shared their opinions and concerns. This includes one academy expert who experienced what he and witnesses attested was an uncommanded discharge in the holster. Oregon's academy is surveying police agencies to try to determine how many actually use the P320. We're told that Portland, Gresham, Oregon State Police, and the Marion County Sheriff's Office do not carry that model handgun. Here in Washington, several police agencies have pushed back on the Training Commission's ban of the P320, saying they want their recruits to train on those guns.
They're inside here. Over here. Thanks.
What's going on tonight?
A man in crisis at a grocery store in Kitsap County.
We've got the ladder right here. It'd be right easy to climb down. Yeah. Perfect.
Sheriff's deputies responding to this call in April of last year couldn't convince him to come down from a cabinet.
We're not.
It's at this moment, when deputies pounced on the fallen man, that this turns into something more than a routine call.
Oh my God, what was that?
3 body cameras rolled as the sound of a gunshot rang out.
What just happened?
I have no idea. Somebody's gun went off.
Does he have a gun on him? We're all holstered.
Well, I'm saying I don't know if it went off in a holster.
None of the deputies had touched their weapons. Later, one of them realizes it was her gun that fired.
Okay, that's an empty shell.
That came out of your gun?
That just came out of my gun.
Your gun was in your holster.
My gun was in my holster. I felt it hot on my thing.
Do me a favor?
Yep.
Take a deep breath.
Yep. Okay. I'm good.
No one was injured, but this incident launched an investigation of the deputy's sidearm, the Sig Sauer P320 handgun, widely used by police and the U.S. military. Last month, the State Criminal Justice Training Center permanently banned the P320 at the academies that train all Washington law officers. As we reported, leadership determined this video shows a Yakima recruit's P320 firing and almost striking an instructor. Both men said the recruit's finger was not on the trigger.
What the hell?
The Training Commission's case adds to a growing number of claims nationwide that the P320 fires on its own, even when secure in a holster. But some police agencies that issue the P320 oppose the ban.
I'm Chief Wendell Shirley of the Bellevue Police Department.
At this meeting earlier this month of the Criminal Justice Training Commission, Bellevue Police Chief Wendell Shirley said the decision would be a financial and operational hardship. He wants officers to train at the academy with a gun they'll use on the job.
And would ask the Commission to consider placing a temporary pause on this directive to allow for a more thorough discussion about the budget and the impact.
Bellevue Police declined repeated interview requests from King 5, but in emails obtained through public records, the department's firearms expert called the ban outrageous and said academy leaders haven't listened to a word we've said. A lieutenant wrote, "We have made the decision and stand by our choice of the SIG P320, and SIG has proved it cannot fire without a trigger pull." Police in Kirkland also opposed the ban, writing, "We are shocked by the Training Commission's action. We don't believe the data supports this decision."
I felt something like hot on my leg when that sound went off.
Indeed, there are cases where the gun appears blameless.
Okay. Self-check.
That wasn't it.
During the Kitsap Sheriff's probe, investigators noticed this on the body cam video. The deputy's handcuffs loose in her duty belt, likely from the struggle. This photo shows how a handcuff strand could have entered the holster, which they say was responsible for pulling the trigger.
We're having to rearm our whole sheriff's department. Because there's a malfunctioning firearm out there.
Nevertheless, 4 days after our original story aired, Kitsap County Commissioners approved up to $400,000. That will pay for more than 200 new model firearms and training for all officers.
We want our deputies to have a safe, dependable weapon. And, they've been watching these play out too. And then, on King 5 News.
Even though the P320 was not blamed here, Kitsap County says deputies shouldn't have one more thing to worry about in a job that's already full of danger.
Obviously, there's plenty of case study here that says it's a defective firearm. Frankly, we need to get it off our deputies' hips.
By the way, our entire special report, Shooting from the Hip, is now streaming for free on our King 5 Plus app. The organization that regulates high school sports, the WIAA, has dropped the hammer on one of Seattle's biggest high schools. King 5 investigator Kristen Goodwillie reports Roosevelt High School's recent accomplishments could be stripped away because of illegal recruiting.
Here at Roosevelt, the community is stunned by the WIAA's sweeping actions against the school, the district, and the Metro League.
Very shocked because he's a really good coach.
The WIAA issued a long list of sanctions today for findings of illegal recruiting at Roosevelt High School. Head coach and former Seahawk Sam Adams is suspended for 1 year and has to pay a $2,500 fine for illegally recruiting students. The fines go far beyond just Adams. 2 other coaches, the athletic director, the school principal, and even the Seattle School District all have to pay fines for a total of $17,500.
The programs that they provide, it's not only football, but like the tutoring programs, and it just feels like targeting, honestly.
Adams came onto the Roosevelt coaching scene 2 years ago when the Rough Riders started winning games. In 2022, the team didn't win a single game. The next year, with Adams on board, they were undefeated in their district. Last year, they made it to the semifinals.
Everybody played, it was a close-knit family, and the whole Seattle was after Roosevelt, honestly.
No recruiting is allowed in high school sports, but the King 5 investigators have found the WIAA identified at least 12 students recruited by Roosevelt to play football. We found they were given special privileges and promised things that other students don't have access to.
This is something we've never really seen before.
King 5 sports executive producer Tony White has covered Seattle sports for 30 years.
In all these years I've been doing this, I've never seen anybody get fined. I've seen losses taken away, players suspended, coaches fired, but never something to this degree.
A WIAA top official tells me the fines are not meant to hurt the students. They're meant to make sure there's competitive equity and fairness in sports. The Roosevelt football players I spoke with say they weren't recruited, but they're still being punished.
A lot of kids of my skin color and stuff that went to this school, the way out was like for athletic scholarships or like they were helping us get to college.
My hard work is definitely going to pay off, most definitely.
The future of Roosevelt athletics is uncertain. The head coach is suspended, the department on probation, and it's going to take a lot to rebuild this program.
After that story, Kristen Goodwillie found the Seattle School District put Roosevelt's principal on leave during the investigation of this football scandal.
This is the email that Seattle Public Schools sent to families and staff at Roosevelt High School on Friday. With only a couple days left in the school year, Principal Tammy Brewer has been put on leave. The Rough Riders football team had a miraculous turnaround, going from a winless 2022 season to reaching the semifinals last year. This week, the WIAA, an organization that regulates high school sports, found Roosevelt cheated its way to victory by illegally recruiting members of the football team. The WIAA didn't say how the principal was involved, but according to this email, Brewer has been put on leave because of the findings. On Wednesday, King 5 obtained a copy of the long list of sanctions. It doesn't spell out how the students were recruited to Roosevelt, but the WIAA makes it clear no recruiting for sports is allowed. What we do know is head coach and former Seahawk Sam Adams is suspended for 1 year and has to pay a $2,500 fine. The principal is among other officials also fined. In the email, Seattle Public Schools says this news will undoubtedly spark concern and that they will move through this challenging time together. Our sports team went back 15 years and says this is the biggest penalty they've seen handed out to anyone. We do expect the WIAA to release a full report on Roosevelt football in the next few weeks.
That's it for this King 5 Investigator Spotlight. We'll be back next month with more investigations. In the meantime, if you have a tip for us, email us at investigators@king5.com or scan the code on your screen. I'm Chris Ingalls. For all the King 5 investigators, thanks for watching.